The scorching Utah sun beat down on the Moab desert as Laris Montgomery wiped the sweat from her brow. Her bright yellow Jeep Rubicon standing out like a beacon against the red rock landscape, the other competitors at the Moab Madness competition cast sideways glances at her vehicle. Their expensive rigs towering over her modified Jeep with their chrome accessories and top-of-the-line equipment. But Laris knew better than to let their judgment shake her confidence. She had spent the last 6 months preparing for this moment, learning not just about mechanical modifications, but about the desert itself. The morning air crackled with tension as veteran off-roaders huddled around their vehicles, discussing the latest GPS systems and electronic differential locks. Laris stood alone, methodically checking her basic upgrades, the carefully selected suspension components, the hand-installed lift kit, and the aggressive but practical all-terrain tires. She had chosen each modification not for show, but for functionality, guided by the wisdom of local Navajo guides who had taught her to read the desert's moods. As the competitors lined up at the starting point, dark clouds began gathering on the horizon, an unusual sight for this time of year. The race organizers debated postponing, but decided to proceed, confident in the high-tech equipment of the participants. Laris felt the first cool breeze against her skin and remembered what Samuel, her Navajo mentor, had told her about desert storms. They don't just change the landscape, they change the rules of survival. The competition began with a challenging rock crawl section. While others relied on their expensive articulating suspensions, Laris used the techniques Samuel had taught her, reading the rocks, understanding their angles, feeling the way her Jeep responded to each subtle shift in terrain. She cleared the section with remarkable efficiency, earning surprised murmurs from the spectators. But nature had other plans for testing the competitors' mettle. The wind picked up suddenly, bringing with it swirling clouds of red dust. The storm that had been threatening finally arrived, transforming the challenging competition into something far more serious. Visibility dropped dramatically, and the expensive GPS systems began malfunctioning as the storm interfered with satellite signals. Panic spread through the ranks of competitors as their high-tech advantages literally turned to dust. Laris, however, remained calm. She remembered Samuel's teachings about following the natural contours of the land, using the wind's direction as a guide, and identifying landmarks that would remain visible even in poor conditions. While others struggled with their electronic complexity, she relied on simple mechanical solutions and natural navigation techniques. The storm intensified, and the competition officials considered calling for an evacuation, but the communication systems were compromised, and the competitors were spread across miles of treacherous terrain. That's when Laris's preparation truly paid off. While others had filled their rigs with the latest gadgets, she had reserved space for essential survival gear, water, basic tools, and emergency supplies. As the situation grew dire, Laris transformed from competitor to leader. She used her knowledge of the terrain to locate several stranded participants, helping them navigate through the worst of the storm. Her simple mechanical winch proved more reliable than the electronic recovery systems others relied on, and her understanding of the desert's geography helped her guide several groups to safer ground. The storm raged for hours, forcing competitors to abandon their race mindset and focus on survival. Fuel became a precious commodity as powerful engines guzzled gas while fighting the wind and sand. Laris's more modest engine and lighter vehicle proved increasingly valuable as resources dwindled. She had learned from Samuel that desert survival wasn't about powering through obstacles, but working with the environment instead of against it. When the storm finally subsided, the competition had transformed into something entirely different. The finishing line no longer marked the end of a race, but became a rally point for survivors. Laris's yellow Jeep, now coated in red desert dust, led a convoy of humbled off-roaders back to base camp. The expensive rigs limped in with electrical systems compromised, fuel tanks nearly empty, and their drivers' egos thoroughly deflated. The competition officials were faced with an unprecedented situation. The event had become a test not of expensive equipment or raw power, but of adaptation, resourcefulness, and desert wisdom. Laris's performance stood out not for speed or technical prowess, but for her ability to thrive when modern technology failed. She had helped rescue several competitors while maintaining the integrity of her vehicle and managing resources efficiently. In the end, the trophy seemed almost irrelevant compared to the lessons learned that day. The off-road community witnessed firsthand how traditional knowledge and sustainable approaches could triumph over technological dependence. Laura stood on the podium not just as a competition winner, but as a symbol of a new kind of off-road wisdom, one that balanced performance with responsibility and respect for the environment. As the sun set over the Moab desert, casting long shadows across the red rocks, Lara shared a quiet moment with her dust-covered Jeep. The vehicle had proved itself not by dominating the terrain, but by working in harmony with it. The other competitors gathered around, eager to learn about her simpler, more sustainable approach to off-roading. She remembered Samuel's words, "The desert doesn't test your equipment, it tests your understanding." That day, both Lara's and the off-road community had gained a profound new understanding of what it truly means to master desert terrain.